I think every man should learn hand to hand combat. Why do I say that? Because throughout history, throughout the ancient times, throughout the feudal times, the jujutsu times, and the modern times, they've all mastered one thing, and that's conditional operations. What does that mean? That means they knew how to control themselves through stress. They knew how to handle themselves through really, really fast paced environments, fast thinking based environments. Okay. So what is this video about? What am I going to be talking about here, guys? The mind and body defense system. Okay. You will be unifying your mental and physical self for mastery. Mastery of what? The mind and the body. When you put those things together, you get really good thinking and coordination, good conditional operations, good and calm decision making, strategic capability overall. And today we live in a paradox, Technology has advanced so much. We have, you know, different kind of ways on defending ourselves. We have guns, we have automations, we have different kinds of ways of defending yourselves. And you might say, oh, I don't need to know hand to hand combat. I could just have a gun and protect myself. Sure, you can do all those things. But when it comes down to when you don't have when you don't have that gun in your arsenal at the moment, you're left with yourself. But that's not the point. The point is it's not violence here, guys. The point is decision making and mastering your mind through what the segue would be is hand to hand combat. Hand to hand combat, in my opinion, is a great way to reprogram your mind. Replace panic with practical responses. That's what it's all about here, guys. Controlling your mind. So, where do we start with all that stuff? We'll come over here to the core and mental control center. We have three parts right here on what really affects decision making and ultimate control and mastery of the mind and body, specifically in tight scenarios. Okay, so you have the prefrontal cortex right here, which many of you guys may already know, which is a popular part of the brain that develops around the age of 25. Some may even develop it even earlier. It's a strategic mind decision making part of the brain. You make, calculated decisions and rational decisions based off that part of the brain when it's fully developed, of course, right? And then you come down to here, which is the middle layer, the amygdala, which is the reactive fear, instinct rush, the flight or fight response, the adrenaline part of the brain, mainly driven by fear, actually, right over here. And that can really, really take control of certain decision makings, especially in quick things that you have to partake in, right? The amygdala will take over that. That's instinct. That's kind of adrenaline. And then you come down here, you have the limbic system, of the brain. That's like your character, who you are. Like that's like your default settings, your discipline, your integrity. Okay. And what did all these people back then who knew hand-to-hand combat, the ancient, the Greeks, the Japanese, and modern military, they all conditioned all three parts of the brain here, all three layers into one mastery. And how did they do that? They did it through combat, through learning hand-to-hand combat, because it was a muscle memory. It was a segue to learning a specific program. When you learn hand-to-hand combat, your body downloads a program into your brain, kind of an installation to your brain. And, you replace, the point is you want to control panic with a better response, better timing overall. So if we come down here, this is the goal right here. Overriding panic with decision. So when you're in tight situations, when you're in, milliseconds of decisions, you come over here. This is the decision making right here process right here. So you have observe, you have the orient part, decide, and then act. We can get through these two right here, observing the situation and then orient the situation. Once we get to the decision, that's when things can really take a turn for right or wrong in a split of a second, right away, just like that. How does that happen? Because the amygdala might take over. So you might make a decision, you might panic, you might rush, which that will not lead to a strategic capability of making decisions. It will not. The amygdala will hijack the muscle memory programming and keep the panic situation, which could go wrong and could go right. It's up for grabs. It's not consistent. It could be good because it's a fight response. I wouldn't heavily rely on it. I would master all three of these into one with the prefrontal cortex, which is the strategic and decision making part of the brain, which is very important. Okay. So what you want to do in this situation is you want to unify these and put them into practice them, program them, download the software through hand to hand combat. Right there. This right here, guys. This part right here, hand to hand combat with the muscle memory, is what you need to learn. That's the whole point of me talking about that in this video, is to unify all this through hand to hand combat. And then you can bring this right over here to a conditioned calm decision making, which would be the strategic capability. That is how you achieve ultimate strategic capability through this sequence right over here, guys. That's the point where you really repeat what these other historical point of events where they learn hand-to-hand combat. That's how they, understood all this. That's when they learn controlled operations. And here are some real life scenarios right over here. I would rather trust a person who knows hand-to-hand combat over someone who doesn't. Why? Because I can tell they make better decisions and they make less irrational decisions in life in general because they have this mastered right here. Okay? So real world application, you would have spatial awareness. Reading intent, body language, environmental threats. That's important because you want to have good awareness overall. And when it comes to defending yourself, it's not just the mind. You do want to defend yourself as a man. You want to be functional. You want to be all around encompassing. You don't want to be one dimensional and be one of those guys who just say, oh yeah, give me a gun and I'll take care of myself. No, you want to know, you want to be, you don't want to let any stone unturned. That's the saying. And this is a major part, and it's a repeated part throughout history, which not because they want violence, but because they want control of the situation. And it's not just through a physical movement, it's also in the mind. It starts in the mind, and then you progress to the body, and then you have the whole thing figured out. Then you have distance management, which would be controlling range, understanding escape routes, and establishing long guard. You're operating at a better mindset than someone who doesn't know hand-to-hand combat. And it's 2026, guys. I think, yeah, we have a lot of security, we have a lot of things, but that's always good. That should be a pillar of who you are, especially as a man, and understanding why hand-to-hand combat matters. And what's the whole solution to this is because all is mind, right? All is mind. That right there, guys, is what this is all about. Yeah, you can control the mind through other things, meditation, whatever you want to call it. I think through hand-to-hand combat, not only that you become more of a badass, you're not a pussy, but you become more functional overall with the mind and the body and everything. And you just become overall more controlled. Okay. So, and I don't care if you guys take that the wrong way. I'm being honest with you guys. You should learn hand-to-hand combat as a man. I think it's an essential pillar of becoming a top functional man in today's society. You never want to be checked in the wrong position, and you always want to make the proper decision, whatever it may be, protecting yourself, avoiding situations. Just like over here, you're understanding environmental threats, avoiding situations. And if you have to get down to it, you have to get down to the situation. Now you understand how to control yourself and making the right decisions overall through understanding the mind, through strengthening these parts of the brain through hand-to-hand combat, through reprogramming your brain, through thinking rationally instead of irrationally. Okay? So I'll leave it at that. Let me know if you guys understand this concept, if you guys don't like this concept. I think this is great. I think this really summarized my experience through learning hand-to-hand combat. It could be through boxing or kickboxing, whatever that may be. But these guys all, this has been repeated throughout history right here. Check this out. This is something that it's not new. It's been around, and it's been around a long time for a reason. All right? So take that for what it is and start your journey on learning something that has to do with protecting yourself and enhancing your mind and your brain and your body. I think this is a great situation to put yourself in. Learning hand-to-hand combat is a big thing. UFC, MMA, martial arts is huge nowadays. So get into something, try it out, and see for yourself.